from the previous sessions. These were very much fruitful sessions as I was listening to the researchers here. So short introduction to me. I am Dr. Sagheer, PhD in Material Chemistry, Assistant Professor of Chemistry, Department of Chemistry, Government Postgraduate College, Mansehra, Pakistan. My title of speech for today is the 3D printing of silica aerogel composites for biomedical applications. Next, please. Before talking to the going to the abstract of this presentation, we know that 3D printing is the most growing field of material sciences these days, with endless applications in different sectors. Our approach in this research work was to utilize a stereolithography technique and to develop a material which could result in printing of medical objects, medical implants, which must be ultralight with low density and which must be highly porous, which is the demand of the medical industry, especially when they are going to print medical implants. The original idea was to modify the commercially available photopolymer resin, which is compatible with the 3D printer, the stereolithography printer, and we have to modify with some type of filler. The filler must be with properties that it must be highly porous and it must be compatible with the photopolymer also, and the end composite material which we produce must have the density and viscosity to the point so that the final print must be very clear and it must be mechanically strong also. So we selected a very porous type of material, that a well-known material, that is silica aerogel. Silica aerogel, which was used to modify that type of photopolymer. Uh, and we were successful enough to keep the porosity of this aerogel until we got the final print. So this was the whole idea, that we want to modify a commercially available photopolymer resin, and we want to prepare a composite, and the composite material, when it is printed, we get the implants which are lightweight and which are highly porous. So what the short abstract in few points, we know that the aerogel and the 3D market and its applications are large, growing rapidly, and is highly segmented. Uh, in this research work, the production of 3D ultra-light, mechanically strong, tailored, personalized silica aerogel composite prosthesis and medical devices with rapid prototyping capability were achieved. This research work allowed the production of personalized medical products, and we were able to print out the prosthetic leg, the ear, the human mandible, etc. Moreover, we are also adopting this process to explore making carbon or graphene oxide containing inks for 3D printers, which may be used to produce supercapacitors, etc. Next, please. A short introduction to the aerogel and 3D market. We cannot say that the technique is modern now, because it traced back to 1976 when the first inkjet printer was invented, and in 1984 the adaptations were carried out for printing majority of the material. The global aerogel market was estimated to be 352.6 million US dollars in 2014, and which is expected to grow to the double digit in 2022 with 1.92 billion US dollar, because the main focus is the use of aerogel as a filler in the commercial resin. The largest market segmented by type of aerogel is about 307.5 million US dollar in 2014. And geographically, when we are looking at it, the globally, North America was the largest segment with 57.2% share, and Europe is expected to grow at annual growth rate of 33% between 2015 and 2022. Customized products such as medical implants and certain regenerative medicines applications, along with lightweight materials in industries such as aerospace, are among end user products based on needs and criteria. Next, please. So, how 3D printing works? If someone is interested, the short summary of a construction of the 3D printer is in 5 steps. Just 3D printer work like an inkjet printer. Instead of ink, 3D printers deposit the desired material in successive layers to create a physical object from a digital file, the CAD file. So we use computer aided designs, which are then printed, and the print is very fine with finished results. So 5 important parts of 3D printer are: first the laser source, then the elevator, the weight, the layered parts, and the material. The function of laser is to solidify the material, which is usually a photopolymer resin. And the elevator raises and lowers the platform and help to lay the layers. The weight contain the material from which the 3D object will be produced. The 3D object is created as part are layered on top of each other. Advanced 3D printers use one or more materials, including plastic. Here we have used the photopolymer resin, titanium, the polymers, and even gold and silver when we are turning to the jewelry part. Next, please. So, a short pictorial summary of industries covered by 3D printing applications. All of this sector, I think, here they are covering the automotives, the aviations, manufacturing, medical field, the jewelry, and do it yourself. Mean in near future we will have a desktop printer and we can print whatever we want in our home. Next. Next, please. So materials and method part, what we started with and what we got. Common sol gel method was utilized for production of composites. That is, we made a slurry and we checked that slurry whether its viscosity is matching with the original polymer. We adjusted this amount of the solvent. We adjusted the amount of the filler. We also adjusted the time of stirring, the speed of stirring. So a small volume first of a silica aerogel based photopolymer slurry was prepared in a small vessel, and then it was transported and injected in a disposable syringe. The syringe was this syringe was irradiated with UV laser outside the printer to solidify the sample. The density of the solidified sample was calculated by simple procedure. These composite materials were then subjected to additive manufacturing via 3D printer. Once we optimized a composition, the optimized composition was made in large amount because the 3D printer weight volume, it requires a large volume of the material. So the optimized slurry was put into the weight of the 3D printer, and stereolithography process was led to produce the biomedical scaffolds. Next, please. So this is the visual images of what we are doing in the lab. Optimization, that is, the first picture shows the laser treatment of the sample inside the syringe. So it is outside the printer, and we should be very careful when we're treating because it is a green UV laser, and we used goggles for that, and there should nothing its way because it is very dangerous. Once we get the sample solidified. In picture number 2, the solidified sample is removed from the syringe by cutting the front edge of the syringe and pushing the sample out of the syringe. The solid sample show little coloration due to use of a dye which carry on the rapid uh, solidification and absorb the UV light. And the last picture shows the optimized sample, the last composition. After various trials we went through it and we produced the colorless, lightweight, with very low density, almost half to the original sample, and we produced the composite which is shown in the last picture. Next please. So what were the results are very clear here. We were able to print the human mandibles shown in picture number 1, and we were able to print the human ear, which was flexible and lightweight compared to the pure photopolymer resin. The focus was to develop the material for 3D printer in which could produce highly porous ultralight medical implants. This research allowed us to production of personalized medical products along with ear and mandibles like hearing aids and other dental implants also. Next please. So along with many other characterization like UV spectroscopy, IR spectroscopy, the bed porosity tests were also carried out. The most interesting test was this SEM analysis for this type of sample, because this is the part which can tell us whether the sample has retained its porosity or it has lost its porosity. In the visual images, you can see that the SEM images shows the porous nature of the material. The final sample which was obtained, that was highly porous, and the pore size is also measured in the SEM images. Next please. So what we are concluding from this whole research work: a silica aerogel based polymer slurry was successfully prepared, because it is not easy to uh, mix a solid type of material like silica aerogel and then to make it compatible with a photopolymer and to keep the density and viscosity at the level which printer is sensitive. So this was first big goal, that a silica aerogel based polymer slurry was successfully prepared. The density of this sample was almost reduced to half. This was the main conclusion, that whether we are going to reduce the density or not by increasing the content of the filler, we were getting more lighter sample, and up to a certain mark we get the best sample. Ultralight medical implants were successfully printed utilizing stereolithography, as we showed in the previous pictures. Thank you very much. Any questions from the listeners? I will be here to and happy to answer.